Sounds like I'm getting ready for a road trip here, bud.
Oh, yeah, man.
I love it. Feels good to be back, baby. Good evening, guys. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. I am in the studio today with my main man, Cody, a.k.a. The Professor. Feels good to be back in the studio. Had a great vacation this past week up in Wisconsin. Had a phenomenal time. Can't wait to go back, but I am excited to be back. Locked in the studio next to my main man, Cody here. Missed last Sunday. That's on me. Cody was ready. I dropped the ball. It was a long day. It was a busy day. But we're here. We're ready to rock and roll. Have a lot to go over. Some Jags WR stuff, obviously. Some DHop's conversation. All kinds of good stuff. But it's going to be a great show, and it's going to be a jam-packed July. It's the last month we have until football, which really fires me up. The wife was giving me a hard time because typically around this time in the years past, I would just like to enjoy the summer and would enjoy baseball. You know, don't get ahead of things. Like she's like, "Hey, you ready for football?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I love the summertime and I love baseball, but I'm ready for football, boys. I'm ready to get going. I'm ready to dive into this and be just talking football 24/7 and just having just slew of nonsense to talk about and to argue about. It's getting a little rowdy on the chat right now about a couple things, a couple players talking some shit as his fans. So they don't keep it boring at all for us. But Cody, how was your week? You're sick with pussyitis, I hear. Is that right?
Yeah. COVID. Yeah, I got COVID,
Close.
Unfortunately. But it is what it is. We're going to keep pumping. Yeah, pretty close. We're going to keep pumping away. It's no reason why not to make a show. I don't care if I'm on my deathbed. I'll still be on here, okay? So if you get a cough every now and then, I'll try to mute myself. But if you get a cough every now and then, sorry about it. And guys, you get a buy one, get one free show here. I got so much stuff packed. It's 2 pages long. It's incredible.
It's only right for missing last week. I love how you threw a little jab in there. He was sick or not sick, I'll be here. And I clearly missed last week, healthy as a goat. So look, I can't make fun of you too much. You are here. Yeah, I called you earlier in bed. But look, I love it. Let's get right into it. Real quick, Charles says, Shelton got that dog in him. Got that dog in him. Let's go. Josh says, we need a High Top Sports spacesuit themed t-shirt to purchase. I know. I'm working on it. I saw someone else said that the other day, and I was like, you're right. I freaking do. Ricky had a good idea, so we got something in the works. I'm excited for his thought. If I can figure out how to put it together. First order of business, boys and girls, PFF drunk on Jags wide receiver core. So they came out with their ranking this past a couple days ago. I don't know when it was. Doesn't matter. With their rankings. Cody, I'll pass it over to you to go over that, big guy.
Yeah, most definitely. If you want to pull up the rankings. So essentially what happened was PFF grades in the future of kind of what they think this year the wide receiver cores are going to do. And boy, this list is wild. And PFF is usually pretty spot on the money, but they literally have the Jags at 16th. Now, let's see who's down there with them. The Pittsburgh Steelers are down there. Baltimore is above them. Denver is right there below them. So you're talking mids at best, right? And then shoot up the list to the very top there, Shelton. Cincy, yeah, I see that, right? Philadelphia, okay. Miami, yeah, it is what it is. But then you have questionable teams like San Fran and Seattle. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, so here's my thing, right? Like what I'm a little shook on is I'm trying to process like the thought process here and like what makes them choose these teams in front of them. Okay, Cincinnati and Philadelphia arguably they're both number one in my opinion. I think Philly has a little bit better wide receiver core. You can go back and forth between that all day long. Miami star-studded wide receiver room with Waddle and Tyreek Hill, 100%. But San Francisco having Deebo Samuel, who's an absolute cheat code. Think the guy's a stud. But Brandon Ayuk, I mean, he's good. Again, like, what are we going off of? Numbers or what's the possibility? George Kittle's a great tight end. I'm not going to take anything away from him. However, again, I like to take comparison of how are they producing for fantasy football-wise. George Kittle is hurt 90% of the time every year. Like, he's constantly dealing with injuries. That has to play a factor into the value of that wide receiver. So that's a weird. That seems a little high to me, in my opinion. They've got Christian McCaffrey they're trying to throw in there. This is wide receiver core. I know he catches the ball. You cannot put Christian McCaffrey into that mix. I think this is a little bit high. I think Debo, putting a lot of weight on Debo, but again, I think you're also considering his ability to run the ball. Is that counting towards wide receiver core? I don't know. Now, they haven't really had, a great throwing quarterback in the last couple of years, but we'll see. Seattle Seahawks, DK Metcalf is a baller. He's an absolute stud. The guy is yoked. He's shredded. Tyler Lockett, I think he's great. You said he's great. He is a little old. And they're adding Jackson Smith, who's a rookie. Hasn't played it down. That seems a bit of a stretch to me. You're going off of a what if. The guy didn't even play in the championship game or their playoff game. It's just a lot of possibilities there. The Cowboys, awful. Absolutely awful. Brandon Cooks is not a good wide receiver. It's just, to me, like, he has his moments. Can he be good? I feel like he's been in great situations. It hasn't really shown out like we expect him to. I think the excitement is there, but he just doesn't get it done. CeeDee Lamb's phenomenal. I'm not going to take anything away from him. That's the number one, right? If you should have a good number one. And if we're comparing this to the Jaguars, right? Like, if we're talking 1-to-1, you can argue that we'll say Christian Kirk because obviously Ridley's new to the table. I would say CeeDee's better than Christian Kirk. How much? Probably not too much. But then you go after that, following Michael Gallup or Zay Jones. It's a wash in my opinion. And then Dalton Schultz and Evan Ingram. I think Evan Ingram made some strides last year. All three of them made strides last year. But now you add Calvin Ridley to the mix, and they haven't considered there. I understand he's taking a year off, but dude, all those guys had almost, I think, close to, if not record seasons. They had certain records that they did break. It doesn't make any sense to me. Minnesota, this is when I'll pass this over to you. This is your team. Justin Jefferson makes up for two guys. So I could honestly, I'm not even going to argue this one because of how good Justin Jefferson is. It probably just makes the rest of those guys look mediocre because of how good he really is. And now with rookie Jordan Addison, again, that is a huge addition to that team. But KJ Osborne and Jalen Reagor, I'm not sold on. But Justin's a dog.
Yeah, for sure. I'd probably put the Vikings a little bit further down the list just because they don't have, minus KJ Osborne, and they got TJ Hawkinson as a tight end. They don't have anything that is even close to Jefferson, and Addison is completely unproven. So,
sure.
Yeah, it's a wild list. I don't think you can put a rookie in there and know how he's going to translate. And that's the other head scratcher was Baltimore, right?
Yeah, again, I know they got Odell, and look, here's Tampa here. You got Mike Evans, who is a certified stud in my opinion. Chris Godwin, another certified stud, and Russell Gage. Those are three solid wide receivers. I would take them over the Bills, the Raiders, and the Vikings. Just overall quality. I mean, Mike Evans is a dog. Like, what, you know what I mean? It's, again, Chris Godwin as well, too, and Russell Gage. I mean, that's your third guy. You're not doing too poorly. But Baltimore goes from not being relevant in the wide receiver core. Like, that was the biggest complaint. And all they added Zay Flowers, who, again, as a rookie, is Odell, who's coming off a atrocious injury. Not like Calvin Ridley, who just took the year off and is working out grinding because he got suspended. No. This guy blew out his knee. So you're telling me you're telling me right now that Rashad Bateman's better than Christian Kirk, and that a bum Odell Beckham, older than Calvin Ridley, is better than Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, he's old.
And Zay Flowers is better than Zay Jones. That's what you're telling me. That's what this list is telling me right here.
That's what they're saying.
Unbelievable. This list is a joke. In the Chicago Bears, DJ Moore and Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool can't find a home, bro. Chase Claypool 2 years ago? Yeah, I'll give you that. Darnell Mooney.
Did you see?
Go ahead.
Did you see the article about the Bears are not happy with Claypool's work ethic?
Yeah, look, I think that's, him and what was the other kid from Pittsburgh that went to Schuster? Juju Schuster. Both those guys kind of, just like, they were excited, they were explosive, but like when it came down to really putting in the work, they kind of fell off. The reason why Pittsburgh got rid of them. There's a reason why they got traded. I would love to know the thought process behind this. I mean, the wide receiver core in Jacksonville, and again, we're obviously Jags fans, so myself anyway, so we're obviously a little biased in the situation. I just don't see some of these teams being as high as they are. The Rams as well, Van Jefferson being a Gator guy, love him. I just don't think he's better than the other two guys that Jacksonville has. Not seeing it. Tyler Higbee, he's okay. He's good. He's not okay. He's good. He's a solid tight end. You could honestly put him Evan Ingram in the same category, to be honest with you. I don't think one outshines the other. I think they both have great opportunities. I mean, the whole list is kind of confusing. Los Angeles, Keenan Allen's good. The guy's old, but he's good. I'm not even going to try to knock that. And Mike Williams is a stud. Yeah. That's a healthy wide receiver core, in my opinion. I really think that's just like, they're not flashy names, but they're good. They get the job done.
They got a rookie. They got a Keenan Allen type rookie also.
Quentin Johnson. Yeah, I like that one there. I'm not mad about that one. But look, I think it's a little much. I think a lot of people will agree. There's someone Scott says as Cowboy fans, I can agree. Wide receiver room's a little sus, and it is. I mean, CD's good, but after that, I mean, Michael Gallup was hurt a lot last year. I don't know. Seems a little high. We seem a little low, anyways.
Yeah. Odd list.
Right. Good stuff. Cam Robinson got suspended. We knew he got suspended. It's been quite some time that he's been. And they finally came out with a ruling. Everybody was expecting 6. It's only 4, and that's okay. I mean, think about it. The Jags were 7-7 at one point, and were able to get it going. So 4 games, it's honestly just, you're not even going to recognize it. 6 has that much more, no, but you could really kind of get caught behind in 6 games. So this excites me. I think there's a lot of nerves are going to how this was surrounding. Obviously, our draft, we think, was adjusted a little bit according to this happening. But did we overreact because of it? I don't know. I don't think it's going to hurt. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's right where you kind of want to be. It's the best case scenario, right? You knew he wasn't going to win the appeal. And it's usually a 4-game minimum, right? So I think you're okay. Now, this is going to put him into a drug testing pool where he will get drug tested more throughout the season. It's just like if anybody's been in the military or got in trouble at work, there's a pool you get in and you get drug tested a lot more often. So hopefully he can keep his nose clean. And this is just kind of a tainted supplement or one-time deal. Which does happen, and he can do his 4-game suspension and be done. And it's going to be the first 4 games, so I think they're going to be okay. And real fast, Harrison Sanchez, no Stogie. Doc said no Stogie on COVID, so I'm just as disappointed as you are. I have a fresh box of Stogies in there.
Can you put a mask on for us, please, for our safety?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Look, I think something else to kind of keep in mind is, look, it's kind of a best case scenario. You never want to see one of your guys get popped, but hopefully this can translate into him working harder and realizing, like, I can't, I've got to dial it in here and be thankful that he's only had 4 games. And maybe it ends up being, one of those situations where you get someone that comes out and grinds because of what happened and they're thankful, like a Calvin Ridley. You got a lot of guys with the comeback story in play. You know what I mean? So who knows? It could be shaping up for good things to come because of it. So, again, best case scenario. Glad it wasn't anymore, and I don't think we're even going to recognize it come the season. So, I wish it reminds me of like Will Greer with Florida, how we released him. I wish situations like in college weren't as frowned upon. Where it could just be like, hey, he's just been the guy for 4 games. Like, imagine what could have been. If we just didn't overreact. But yeah, good to see that. Before we get back, this is kind of football talk, but more so just the media talk. ESPN purge. This happened yesterday, I believe, where they basically fired everybody.
Yeah, yesterday.
It's been happening kind of slowly, but I think the big list dropped yesterday, where it was, let me get the name, 20 on-airs people. And some big names too, man. Just some names that, you've grown up with. What was this guy's name? Hold on, I'm trying to get the list pulled up now so we can read through it here.
Todd McShay's gone.
I've never been a big fan of Todd McShay. He's a little boring to me. He's not one that I'm going to be like, man, really wish I heard some Todd's thoughts today. That was never a big one. I love Jalen Rose. I've always been a fan of Fab Five. Jeff Van Gundy, that one's crazy to me. Jeff Van Gundy, that one stings a little bit. Again, he's one of those guys that you expect to see on playoff basketball. Just one of those familiar faces that you enjoy watching. I've always loved Van Gundy. That he's always had a great personality. He never really was afraid to say how he felt, which I've always enjoyed because he's always, the playoffs or the finals, it's on ABC, and that's same family. He always said what he wanted to say. Max Kellerman, he kind of lost his pizzazz. Not really going to too much about him. Keyshawn Johnson. I'm trying to find the list here. I only got these few names, but there's some bigger names on there, man.
Yeah, there was a couple game day guys, college game day guys too, that got the hatchet.
Yeah, they keep saying the names that to me aren't even that big for who else got that got the boot.
Yeah, and non-ESPN, we had the Shannon and Skip, kind of an iconic show. They split up. That kind of felt like Mike and Mike when they split up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that one was an interesting one, but that one you felt like it was coming for a while now, just based on how they kind of talk to one another. So that one isn't as surprising as this list here. Again, with these people that are getting, I can't believe I can't find the freaking list now. I read it all yesterday. Matt Hasselbeck, Steve Young. I mean, all these guys that have been a part of it for a very, very long time. Susie Colbert, 27 years. 27 years at ESPN, gone. And all of this is after the big Pat McAfee deal, $85 million to the squad there. And that's a lot of cheddar. And think about where they're headed. I mean, all these guys that they're paying, right, where it's multiple outlets, it's multiple sources, multiple different coverages. And you go to Pat, who covers it all. The guy does College Game Day. The guy does NFL. The guy, he'll talk about whatever he wants, and he's created a dynamic situation where like people just go to him for just sports in general, which is what ESPN is. And he has so many personalities and flavors on his own show that you got to think that has a little bit to do with it. And look, I think you have to also point to of like, why is this happening? They're losing money hand over foot, right? Because I think it's just the wokeness that ESPN has gone towards of trying to be politically correct and not being able to say what they feel. And it's finally catching up to them. That's exactly what's happening. Now, for me, I kind of hate it. I was telling you this before the show because you've now have just sent out 20 plus highly talented, highly connected people to go, and what are they going to do? They're going to start their own thing. They're going to go and start their own little podcast. And if I'm ESPN, I don't know why you would let that go, understanding like, hey, that's a possibility that might happen where they're just going to go to probably create their own thing. Now, not everybody has that capability of doing that. It's not as easy as it probably seems. Some may fly over to Fox Sports. I could see that happening. They do a good job of gobbling up old ESPN people like Colin Cowherd. But you got to think that Shannon Sharp probably is going to be coming over to ESPN too. I know Pat McAfee was making that nod, and so those are two big pieces that you're adding to the table that are, that carry a little more weight than the names that I just mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild too because some of the iconic names that you talk about, who's going to cover all the stuff though? Your game day stuff.
Yeah, the game day. What's it's the Georgia guy from Game Day. I can't think of his name right now. Look, Van Gundy's.
No,
go ahead.
No, I'm saying that like Hasselbeck and them used to actually like do play-by-play
for Monday Night Football.
For games, just periodically games, and they got Stephen A. Smith, which is like their assigned do-it-all guy. He'll but I don't know, man. It's I get clearing a little cap space, but I mean they fired like 20, 25 plus people.
David Pollock, that was the other name there. That was another big name in my opinion. Yeah, Thomas Shea, commentator. Steve Young, analyst. I mean, Steve Young's fine. But right now it's saying that Kendrick Perkins is going to replace Jalen Rose. And again, to be honest with you, right? Jalen Rose, in my opinion, I always felt that he only had a job because of who he was. I never really watched Jalen Rose. I'm like, man, great take there, Jalen. There was times where I was like, why is Jalen on here? I just felt like he was just, it was very flat. Max Kellerman, he was, in my opinion, a kind of, go ahead.
I don't like Perkins.
Yeah, but he's a personality. He gets people riled up, right? He causes you to think and get frustrated, and it works for views. It's like Skip Bayless. People hate Skip, but he says shit that just gets you riled up. Max Kellerman to me is like a great value Skip. He tried to go down that route and just couldn't really grasp people like Skip does. So for a while now, Max has lost his steam. He came in on the hot spot. He had the way he could pronunciate and he could grab your attention, but he really fell off. Tom McShay's always been boring to me. Matt Hasselbeck, same thing. Never even recognized the guy that he was there. Steve Young, I thought he was. I didn't know he was part of ESPN. I thought he was like a guest host. I'm being honest. David Pollack, and again, they have him lower on the list, but that was a big one for me. And Susie Colbert, those are the ones that you kind of like. You hear them, you recognize them, you understand them. Those to me are a little bit more shocking to me. Where I was like, these guys are valuable in my opinion. If I was running the company, I'm like, hey, these guys provide value. People enjoy watching them. They see that face and it reminds them like, hey, it's the weekend, right?
Yeah.
So
that just shows you McAfee is going to be the flagship of ESPN, right?
Yeah, so it's weird because I was part of a company when we merged. I worked for Web. I feel like I've talked about this before on the show, and we bought this company called Yodel, and we bought them, and it felt like we were supposed to be taking charge and taking them in because we bought them for certain things, certain technology, and then when Yodel came in, it's appeared that we didn't buy Yodel. It's like we bought Yodel, but Yodel like came in through the back door and just underneath the web.com brand. So this feels like it's Pat's coming into the back door, and even though it's underneath the ESPN logo, Pat might be running the show. He might have been right when he said, hey, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want because I'm buying the bitch out. I don't know. I might be stretching there, but it's what it feels like. It's what it feels like. All right, enough about that. Let's move on to our next topic. Cornerback Jack Jones arrested for the Patriots. This is the big one here. Big one. Cody?
Yeah. Young rising star cornerback Jack Jones arrested for attempting to bring 2 firearms on a plane up there in New England. Not a place where, number one, you want to try that because it's an airport and a federal facility, but number 2, with New England's gun laws, which he didn't read over whatsoever because he decided to not have any of the proper permits for the 2 concealed weapons and the ammo permit card, which they have to have up there. Also, he did not have them in a TSA approved case. You can fly with a firearm, but it has to be locked up in a TSA approved case. He had that just in his day bag, like his little carry-on. So, boy, you talk about just a dumb move, right? For the young 20-plus-year-old kid. And the mandatory and minimum, the minimum sentence is 2 years. The mandatory max is 20 years in prison.
So he's done. It's wrap. Doesn't it feel like lately here it's just every other week somebody's either getting in trouble for gambling, guns. I don't know. It's a whole other generation, right? I mean, it's a different group of kids that are coming out and just doing stuff. I don't know where the disconnect is. And what's even crazier is that you see it more now than ever. You see what's happening to the players that are doing it. That should be like, hey, maybe we should slow down a little bit. Like let's not act a fool. I don't know. I don't have answers for it. I feel like an old guy now going, these kids of this damn generation. Like I used to hear all the time, like, what are you guys talking about? And we obviously did dumb shit too that didn't make any sense. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm looking at it going like, what was the thought process? Like, it's like PFF, right? That article. Like, how do you sit here and be like, yeah, that was a good idea? Like, at what point, first of all, what you carrying 2 guns for to the airport? Like, I get concealed and carry, and maybe you misplaced it or laid it down, but like, what's the point of having 2? Like, so you can rotate your outfits? Like, what's like, if it's a protection thing, right? Like, there's no need for 2. Like, are you going to go hunt? Like, you're not going hunting with 2 pistols. I don't get it. Like, you can't. Cody, what's going on, dude? What's happening?
All right.
What do you think it is?
I'm gonna tell you this. All right. This is literally probably the dumbest generation ever. I'm here to tell you. You can YouTube everything. Everything. They will teach you how to bring a gun properly. TSA approved, what boxes to get. I've had to travel with weapons with the Marine Corps, and it was always in a TSA approved lockbox. There's no no more gray laws anymore. They have insurances you can buy, and you call them up and you say, I'm in this state. What are the rules and regulations that I need to follow so I don't get locked up? How dumb do you have to be? Do you just
So
not care?
yeah, so Muddy, I think we're a little ahead of, or he's a little behind. He goes, you guys going to talk about these players complaining about betting and the Patriots cornerback saying, I'm risking my life to play and should be allowed to do it. So that was where my mind was that it's ego. They think because I'm playing a certain game at a certain level, I'm at a certain starlight, that I can do whatever I want. I'm so and so, right? It doesn't really matter what you say. And it's like, no. And Digbeck says, have as many guns as you want. Yeah, I agree. You should have as many guns as you want. If you want to bring 2 guns with you, that's fine too. It's just, it seems a little overkill, pun intended, for this type of situation. Like, I don't know where he's going, what he's doing, but either way, I don't care how many guns you carry. I think you should be able to carry. But there's rules for a reason, for safety purposes, and it's just like you blatantly were having an ego about it, and like you're saying, hey, why not YouTube it? He's not going to YouTube it. He feels like he can do whatever he wants. For the fact that he's defending the situation, if that's what he said, I'm risking my life. Like you have zero accountability. Like your first thought is that that's how it should be. I can't. Like you can't have a conversation with somebody like that. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like to be fair, so listen to this. We just flew this weekend to Wisconsin there and back. We had to bring formula on and all kinds of things with little man, right? Every time we went through, we got stopped. It was inevitable. We knew that. It's part of it because we're bringing liquid onto the plane. Well, we had to. We're allowed to when it comes to breast milk. But they had to pull my wife aside each time, pull all the milk out, and then scan her hands for I don't know what. Look over all the milk, make sure that it's good to go, that we're not sneaking some stuff in. If they're doing that for milk, and obviously he wouldn't know they're doing that for milk, but it's like, dude, like that's where we're at. You know what I mean? Like, this shit's serious. Maybe this generation forgets 9/11. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
but he's done.
I think that might be part of it.
Yeah, they didn't live through it.
Dig Bick as a active gun owner and 2A advocate myself. I get you.
But you go through a class. You know the rules. That's the other thing. You go have a class. They're very clear on what you can and cannot do. I remember when I was getting it, it's like if you lift your arm up too high and it shows the gun, somebody could claim like, hey, like they flashed it at me. Like it's a catch-22, but like that's how it's and that's when I get frustrated. People are like, oh, you can go out and just give a gun to anybody. No, it's not that easy either. But we're getting a little too down the line with political stuff. But yeah, it's nonsense. Good stuff there as always. Next up, we have Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks is having a hard time finding themselves a home. Cody?
Yeah, they're completely homeless. They were supposed to essentially go and film with the Lions, and Dan Campbell and company said, no, we're not going to do that. We are not opening up the doors. Now,
so they
Hard
were
Knocks
do the
is
Lions again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nothing. They can do that.
It just seems a bit much for me.
Yeah, so it's just because Dan Campbell and you know, he's kind of.
So we've had kind of conversations. There's certain rules that you have to pass, right?
Yeah. So, and they're not really rules. They're just kind of guidelines that can be kind of changed up a bit, and it's essentially no playoff team in the last 2 years. You can't have the show within the last 10 years, and no first-year head coaches.
Which, when you look at it like that, I think there's only like 5 or 6 teams that are even available to do Hard Knocks at this very moment.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The teams none of them were really exciting either. So I literally think it was like 5 or 6. But we were talking before the show started. Look, there's no real, and you were arguing the other, against it a little bit. To me, if I'm a team, I wouldn't really be too excited to do a Hard Knocks either. I think I love it as a fan. I love Hard Knocks. I think it's cool to see the inside and out of what's going on in a football organization. But if I'm a football team and I'm running shit, I'm like, yeah, I don't want you guys here. I got too many things to worry about, and having these guys because they got to go do interviews. They do personal interviews. They take them off, and everything is just out there for display. and it gets released as the season goes on, and then that's distracting to the team because during the season, episodes are being dropped, and the team's watching it, and maybe somebody says something, and someone's feeling gets like. There's a lot of things. They're grown men. They're probably not getting upset or whatever, but it's definitely a distraction. And for me, I was saying, look, I think it's losing its pizzazz because with social media nowadays and the clips that come out from the teams themselves, Hard Knocks doesn't provide you that inside scoop and look as much as it once did. It's still an inside scoop. It still is a different flavor than what you can get from a social media page. But are you going to go out of your way to watch it now when you can kind of just get clips and bits of it anyways? You're going to take an hour to go watch a team that you don't really care about anyways? No. So I think it's going to end up like the ESPN co-host and probably be on its way out. I could be wrong. I think the in-season one's a little bit cooler too. I mean, just watching a team go through the season, those are the more exciting. But we'll see. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's owned by the NFL network essentially. So yes, it is shot on. It's put out on HBO, but NFL Films owns the rights there. So, Roger Goodell could just call and say, "Listen, you're gonna do this, right?" And
Sure.
the three teams right now, which you are just going to be elated for, are the Commanders, the Bears, and possibly the Packers if it goes through their little judge and jury situation they have there with voting it in. So yeah, it's going to be a good one.
I would love. I mean, I would love any of them. I can't even say that I would like to see any of those. To be honest with you, the
Packers maybe.
The Packers is the only one. I mean, the Commanders are in such shambles. I don't even. Who's the quarterback? I can't even. Is it Wentz? No, right? I don't even know.
No,
I don't even know. I don't even like. It's not. They're not even a fun team to even think about. The Bears. I loved like the history behind the Bears, but they just kind of lost their swagger about them. To be honest with you, the Packers with Jordan Love, it would be kind of cool to watch that all unfold with its first year without Aaron Rodgers. See if there's any drama that might stir up from that. I think that might be, what's going on. But I don't know. I'm not excited about any of those teams. And that's the thing, too, is like I'm sure there's other people that feel the same way that I do. And it's just the Lions was fun last year. I love Dan Campbell. And I think that's probably why they're going back because Dan Campbell makes great TV. Great TV.
Yeah.
That entire team made great TV. Aiden Hutchinson, like that was just such a fun, like that was fun to watch. That Hard Knocks was really cool. And I was cheering for the Lions because of Hard Knocks last year. Because you felt connected with all those guys. They had great personalities on that team. But yeah, I respect Dan also for denying. It's like, look, we were close last year. We were really close. Like we had all the right things going, all the right things clicking, and we just kind of dropped the ball in places we need to. And we need to be fully bought in. So I respect the hell out of it. And if I'm the Packers, I wouldn't do that either with Jordan Love first year. I wouldn't do it. Honestly, the Commanders, if I'm a Commanders, I jump on that. You are an abysmal of an organization and need every lifeline that you can get. Any type of insight or any good publicity that you could get out there would be great for you guys. Maybe a different look for the Commanders would be good right about now. Anything that comes out about them is just negative at this point.
The Bears are under new ownership too, so they may hobble on that just to, and we talked about them not having a home right now. Also, just two episodes ago or one episode ago, they're kind of in a rough patch too. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I wish they didn't have I'm sure there's reasons why, and I don't know that, but just the restraints they have on it now, like a playoff team. I mean, the Jaguars would be an absolute blast right now. I mean, obviously that's a little bit biased. I think the Dolphins would be a fun one to watch. The Bengals, remove the restraints. Be able to go who you want to go. Give the people what they want. Give me Joey B. Give me Josh Allen. Give me Mac Jones. Quick, give me these bullshit teams. Nah, I mean, the Cowboys kind of lost their pizzazz. I feel like they had all the momentum. They did a perfect Hard Knocks, and they just haven't really capitalized on it. I'm over it. You're like the Miami of NFL. You keep saying you're back, and you're just not back. I'm done with you. Until you really make a point and you make a stride in the playoffs, I don't want to hear about it. The Chiefs would be blast. The Eagles would be a blast, dude. I mean, there's just the restraints are what's killing Hard Knocks. Let them go. This whole playoff bullshit's stupid. Those guys have their shit together. You should be allowed to go record them. You're recording teams that are struggling to get their piss off the ground and trying to make them do TV shows and practice. They need to practice, not TV shows. I'm sorry, I'm hot, but it's just,
I love it.
Let's see.
Yeah, definitely. Could you imagine the Eagles with all them Georgia Bulldog
Yeah, never mind.
alum
Fuck the
on there?
Eagles. Fuck the Eagles.
Could you
Uh,
imagine though how
it would
rowdy
be.
that place is?
It probably is. Yeah, I'm sure they're probably speeding a lot. That's probably why they can't do it anyways. Moving
Yeah.
on. Josh Jacobs upset with the Raiders. I feel like the Raiders have been on a streak now of just pissing people off. Devontae Adams is upset, which he wants out, right? Kind of, sort of. Yes. He's upset with the offense. He's upset with
Yeah.
the offense. Obviously, Derek Carr wasn't happy. Now they're always their issue with their quarterback. He's not unhappy, but
He may not make the team.
he may not make the team, which might cause some more people to be unhappy. And now Josh, what did Josh say, Cody?
Yeah, so essentially what happened with Josh Jacobs is he's not happy because he's a running back and they voided his 5th-year option and they decided to franchise tag him, and which means that he essentially has no choice. He pretty much has to play. Now he is getting $10 million, but in the world of running backs where the time is ticking every single down, almost it feels like every down they touch the ball is one more notch off the life, right? Um,
Absolutely. One more
he
kneecap on
he doesn't.
on the ropes.
Yeah, he has no guaranteed money after this year and no deal, and he's worried about it. And he said essentially what he said was, "Listen, somebody's gonna have to be the villain in this, and it's gonna have to be me because I have to get mine."
Yeah, I hate to see it with Josh. I like Josh, but I don't know what's going on with Raiders. I feel like they're in a good position being in Vegas. I thought they made a good move with going out and getting our boy. What's pretty boy's name right now? I can't think about it. Quarterback name. Drawing a blank.
Oh, their quarterback Garoppolo.
Yeah, Jimmy. But look, you can't piss off your two guys, Devontae and Jimmy, and Josh. And Josh has been a stand-up guy through and through. I mean, he talked about leaving and he stayed. You can't screw over this guy. And again, you're in Vegas. You got a new home. Vegas is in a really good place with sports teams right now, and they have an opportunity to really kind of catapult, I think, all of their sports teams. Make a move here. Don't piss off your guy, especially somebody who's been bought in this entire time. But again, it's a business, and like you just said, the running back lifespan is very short, and that's kind of where it's coming. They're meeting in the middle here. That's where they're busting heads about it.
Yeah, and that guaranteed money is the most important thing for a running back because he's constantly taking shots. I mean, he's an injury away from not getting anything, and he has no essentially money beyond this year. I'd be frustrated too.
Look, but here's the thing, and this isn't his fault. It's his counterparts. Look at all the other running backs that got guaranteed money and then kind of just disappeared. Zeke.
Yeah, I get it.
Todd Gurley. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
I think head coaches for college NFL, they're going on that same path, and their counterparts are burning them. They're going to be burning them as well too. You're seeing guys getting the money and then just say, "All right, cool, I'm good. It's all guaranteed." Like Deshaun Watson blows my mind. I mean, he screwed over everybody. He screwed over the entire NFL with his contract, and so you're running into a situation now where nobody can find a happy medium because of the contract that guy got, which was not even close to deserved, has really the Browns said, you know what, we can't do it right here. So how can we make it sure that everyone else fucks it up like we do? You know what, we're gonna sign this deal, which is just gonna just screw it over for everybody. And it's basically what's going on here. I think this is just a backlash from that. It's crazy to see, but that was the first domino to fall, and it's been causing just trouble ever since with guys signing deals now because of it.
Yeah, most definitely. And look at somebody put in the comments what we already went over a couple weeks ago is look at who's in the free agency for running backs too. I mean, you got three big dogs and Cook, Leonard, Fournette, and
does Muddy have
guy?
a tap into our show? Because he's like been ahead of everything we've been talking about. Yeah, he says, should the NFL pay running backs more right out the gate? Because again, these guys are like exactly what we're talking about is they're not getting paid till later, but by the time it's time for them to get paid, their lifespan's over. And it's like, I just busted my ass off, and now you're not paying me because you and I both know my lifespan's probably a year or two left, but I want a 7-year deal. Sorry, bud. Yeah, look, I think what we could see happen with Bosa did this early. Somebody else did, a couple guys that came into the league and they sat out. Bosa did a great job of doing that, got paid because of it, where we might see some running backs saying, hey, I know what I'm worth. I know what I'm able to do. And if all the running backs kind of come together when they first go into the league, it's like, look, I'm valuable. You know I'm valuable. I understand I'm a rookie, but like we've even talked about too with Tanks Bigsby, the transition from college to NFL, it's not as hard as other positions, right? We're running north and south. We're reading holes. So I can read a hole whether it's college or NFL. Linebackers a little bit faster, tackle a little bit harder. That's just part of it. But, yeah, for the fact that Zeke, Cook, and Fournette are all still available, it's wild.
I would almost wonder if you cut it back to like a 2 or 3 year deal on running backs on their first deal. But that would have to go through the Players Association, and I just don't know if they can get that through. You know what I mean? Instead of the 4 and 5 year, if you're a first rounder, you get the 5th year option and stuff like that. I think maybe if you did like running backs signed a 2 year deal right off rip from the draft, and then you have those 2 years to make your claim, and then you have obviously your prime for your big deal. That's the only way they'd be able to do it. But I don't know if that'll get passed because the teams won't like that.
And you're gonna. I mean, look. If I'm in college, do you stay longer in college now because of this? Do you leave earlier so you have more time to? I mean, there's
a big NIL deal.
Yeah, look, that would be good. I'd be okay with that for college.
Yeah,
for college purposes. But yeah, something to definitely keep an eye on. I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk about this for sure. Next up, Mike McCarthy, head coach of Dallas Cowboys, started put on his big boy plans to take over. Let me hear it.
Yeah, so essentially, he is following his old footsteps of Green Bay, and he had an offensive play caller for a long time in Green Bay, and then decided to take it over, and that's essentially what got him shit canned over in Green Bay, because the Lions, the Vikings, and the Bears that they play twice a year knew the playbook so well. Yeah, they knew the playbook so well. They knew what plays were coming, and Aaron Rodgers got pissed off and said, how are we supposed to run the play when they know what's coming? Because it's the same plays over and over. There's no wrinkles. There's no anything for the past 4 years. That play sheet that he's holding for the Dallas Cowboys may be the same play sheet he Xeroxed over with the Packers about 20 years ago.
I love it. Mike McCarthy's an interesting character. I've never been a big fan of the guy. It's one of those ego flexes again. He's like I've been saying this a lot. I said this a little bit earlier. He's a great value of Bill Belichick's. He thinks he's Bill.
Yeah.
Without the cutoff hoodie. He's not Bill Belichick. You're not Bill, Mike. Quit acting like it. And I think, dude, this is. I mean, all of us have this problem to a certain extent. Is we think we're somebody that we're not, and we sometimes have too much of an ego to take to swallow the accountability. And that seems like one of those situations again of like, you think that you're the smartest guy in the room, that you can get it done. And it's going to end up biting you in the ass. Look, you have to have a little bit of that, especially as a leader, but you also have to be able to navigate it. We talk about Billy all the time. Billy, when are you gonna hand it over, right? Are you going to have so much of an ego and so much concern about being in control that it bites you in the ass? How long has he been in Dallas now? I feel like I'm going to say 2 or 3, probably is longer though, just because how time flies. I feel like it's been a little bit now, right? Is it 2 to 3?
Probably 4 years, I think.
Yeah, so maybe, look, this could be a good change. Is it something that you stick to? Probably not, but maybe he's taking some time off from not being that guy. It could be a good change for Dallas because, I mean, what they're doing so far hasn't been the greatest. So,
yeah,
maybe this time it works.
But he's no Dan Mullen. Why not go get Dan Mullen? A guy that has worked with Dak.
That'd be awful. They couldn't work
together.
It'd
be awful.
I don't think they work together. I don't think the egos could. I think, look, what you're thinking logistically, like, hey, taking Dan Mullen's mind, yeah, 100% perfect. I just don't think they could work together. Ain't no way.
You think Mike McCarthy and Dan Mullen can't work together?
No, yeah, no shot.
Yeah, I could see that. But I'm just saying logistically, I think I would have went out and got Dan Mullen or somebody like that, because Mike McCarthy runs the same offense since like 1972, so it's just not going to work. They're going to lose a bunch of games. He'll probably end up getting fired. Dan Quinn is there. Scott Allen said he's kind of the head coach without being the head coach. So, the Cowboys are just shit in the bed like usual.
Yeah, they'll drop the ball again. To hell with Mullen. Agreed. Excuse me. Hold And just crazy because I remember in the mid 2000s, running backs owned the NFL. I think about this all the time, buddy. Like I'm a big running back guy. MJD, LT, Fred Taylor, Chris Johnson, McFadden, AP, McCoy, Frank Gore, Clinton Porter. Bro, it was a blast to watch. You don't have that anymore, dude. You really don't. It's very upsetting. It is very upsetting. They don't have the same lifespan. I mean, Derrick Henry, in my opinion, is kind of your last, and Cook, your last good old boy style running back where like they just carry the rock and they don't stop. And they have been for quite some time. They kind of been carrying that load for a while, especially Derrick Henry. The fact that you're talking about Derrick Henry and Cook being, old it's crazy to me. I feel like Frank Gore played in the league for my entire life. You know what I mean? Chris Johnson didn't last very long. MJD lasted a long time. Chris Johnson, I feel like kind of was short-lived. AP, literally, I think he's still playing. I think he is.
Yeah, he's somewhere.
I think he just got another yard, actually, as we were talking. All right. Last but definitely not least, great show so far today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, show some love. We do this every Sunday except when I put out like I did last Sunday.
We got two more.
What am I missing? Oh, Alvin Kamara. I forgot that.
Kamara. That's all right.
Okay.
We'll talk about that at the end.
DHops and Cook joined forces. This would be huge. So obviously Hopkins was doing his recruiting cycle down in Houston. Does DHop fit in Houston, though, with Dameon Pierce?
Well, I'll tell you this. I could see it, but there are some other teams that I looked up that could possibly be interested in the pair, and you're gonna love this.
I'm reading now. Go ahead.
The Chiefs, because they just need two more weapons. The Bengals and the Browns. What do you think about that?
You know what? So where this is coming from is they were on the Adam Schefter podcast, just so you guys are aware, and they discussed teaming up with one another. Look, could we see an NBA style type where it's like, hey, let's go make a big three, let's go get it done towards the end here? Do either of them care about money? I don't know. Maybe DHop does a little bit. But I would love the Bengals if I had to choose out of those teams we just mentioned. I think that would be exciting. I mean, could you imagine? That would be the number one. It already is the number one receiving core. You add DHop to the mix and Cook. They have Joe Mixon, so it might get a little busy back there. But shoot, trade off Joe Mix and one of your wide receivers to open up some space, and go get a big O lineman and sign those two guys. That might be the move. The Chiefs, though, I see that happening, dude. The Chiefs somehow always find a way to pull some shit off. They're like the new Patriots, right? Where it's like every year you think they're going to kind of dwindle off, and they sign like one or two pieces, and it's like, yep, they're not even skipping a beat. The Browns, honestly, would be the best case scenario, but they're just too dumb to get it right. They're not going to get it right. So I can't even consider. I think everyone's like, yeah, this makes sense for the Browns. The Browns like, yeah, this makes sense too. But yeah, we're just not going to do it. That's going to be the Browns. So it's probably going to be the Chiefs, if I had to guess. The Bengals won't make the right moves to make it happen, and the Chiefs are in the right place and have for some reason, always make the right moves, and they're probably going to make it happen.
Yeah, the Chiefs deal is interesting, and Muddy Water. I get that the Bengals are loaded, but the Chiefs didn't say that when they constantly bring in talent, and Tampa Bay, when they made their run, they brought in all those wide receivers. I don't see it being a kind of a load proportion issue. I think they'll be just as excited to go win a Super Bowl, because you put those two guys on the offense, and boy,
yeah, especially someone like Burrow, who's been vocal about making moves to make sure there's room for more people. He's in that win mentality. He doesn't care about the money. Like he's here to get it done. So look, it does seem like a lot, and it kind of seems a little overkill. But again, it's one of those things like we got to beat the Chiefs. What do we got to do? It's either they come join us, or they're gonna go across the pond and they're gonna beat us. If that's your case, y'all shut up. We gotta find a spot on the bus for them. We gotta make some room quick.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, last but not least, we have Alvin Kamara. I don't have the graphic for that for some reason. That's my bad. In some trouble here. Another running back going down the drain.
Yeah, so he essentially got hit with a battery charge that sustained bodily injury outside of a nightclub a year ago or 2 years ago. But this is the crazy thing is this is why I said he might be done. They go and draft Kendra Miller. I think he's at TCU, and this is what Miller said. We watch Alvin clips every day, me and the coaching staff. I feel like I can do everything that he can do. He's plug and I'm kind of a 2.0 plug and play Alvin Kamara. That's what this coaching staff is looking for me to do. How would you feel if you were Alvin and you heard that?
I mean, it's ballsy from a young guy coming in, but it just goes back to what we were saying with Josh, is that these new guys coming up, man, it doesn't take much to transition, and it's like he's not doing anything special. Like, I can do that, and look, it takes a couple runs to show that you can, and it's like, all right, cool, Alvin, you're way too expensive anyways. You've had your issues off the field. See you later, alligator. And again, it's one of those things, like, look what's on the table right now with Cook and the names that we just mentioned earlier that are available and have not been picked up. I see Alvin falling right into that same category if this is the case here. So Alvin's hurt and he's going to be out for some time? Is that what's being said?
No, it's his battery case.
Oh, it's going to cause him to be out.
Problem. Possibly, yes.
And yeah, again, it just takes 2 or 3 games to say, okay, yeah, this kid is good. We'll go replace you, with depth in the next draft, but we're not going to bother you anymore. Let's keep moving. We'll see. But yeah, that's another great running back.
Montgomery down there too.
Oh yeah, Montgomery from the Bears, and he's a stud. I think that he's a good north and south running back. Life of a running back, man, it's a depressing road for sure. I love running backs, and it's just like, yeah, they don't hang on as much as they used to anymore. It's sad to watch. Sad to see it happen.
Yeah, it's just pretty crazy to me that the rookie came out and said that they were actually watching clips of what Alvin does on the field and
these
practice
rookies getting
clips.
Ballsy, bro. These rookies out here kind of just throwing them down. They ain't got no.
Just think about how electric Alvin Kamara is.
Oh yeah, he's fun, dude. He's a bro. Guy puts up 40, 60 points a game in fantasy football. Guy's a beast. He eats.
Yeah, but
this kid's saying he can
do trouble. It. And this kid says that, and obviously the scouts thought the same thing because he's there on the team.
We'll see. It's going to be NFL does a great job of always just having stories to follow, and we're going to have plenty to follow this coming season. But boys, great show. Glad we're back at it. Glad we got back on track here. We will be live next Sunday. No way we're not missing anymore. That was my bad. I can't let that happen again. I'm going to regret it forever. Cody's not going to forget either because he's here on Pussyitis Syndrome. But boys and girls, you be good. We'll be live Wednesday, 8:35 with Mr. Jaden Hill from Florida Gators. It's going to be a jam-packed show. Obviously, got a lot of things to go over, some more content we'll be dropping over the next few days. So be sure to turn the bell on, stay tuned, and be safe, guys. Love you. Have a happy 4th. See you guys next time. Till then, I am Shelton.
And I am Cody the Professor. Please keep all your fingers. Let's go.
Keep all your fingers. Be good, boys.
Don't wanna sleep in